Hey, good morning. Hope you're doing well today. It's the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Yeah, we're late. Slept in. It's a rough day, rough evening. Oh, Bubbles comes running down the stairs. Come here, Bubs. Want to be on the show? Bubbles, you got dead airspace. Come on. There you go. There she is. She's like, I want to be on the show. Come here. Oh, oh, oh. It's the bubble cat. Oh, she's clawing everyone. Now all the dogs are up. Now they're all here. We got the cats and dogs. We got a Betty. I'm not awake. I was so to sleep until the cat crossed me. And the cat's here. And the Jerry's here. It's a dog and cat show. And not 5 a.m. Mester Scrum? No. Okay. No more sneak attacks. Anyway, sorry about that. Cause havoc in the show. We cause havoc. Poor Betty. You okay, Besters? Watching that cat. Okay. So the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. And today I want to talk about top Scrum Master job interview question. So this is an interview question that pretty much you should get anytime you interview for a Scrum Master job. And the question is how do you go about answering it? So that's gonna be our topic. And I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. Had a fun time last night with a local Toastmasters group talking about doing YouTube and podcasts and what we do for this show. And I'll probably take the interview, the show, and put it on the show later. I'll share with them so they can all be on their own podcasts as we go. So, why do we do this show, Jerry? So we provide tactical, practical ideas on Scrum and Agile so you can give value to your customer. In this case, we're going to see if we can't help you get a job and get home at a decent hour so you're not working crazy hours and have some fun with family and friends like the little Jersters here. Right, Jer? Yeah, you like your head rubbed. Okay, lay down, Jerry. I don't want any sneak attacks. So I'm going to have to be mindful of this one because he's looking at me like he's going to sneak attack me. I put up the video of the sneak attack yesterday. That's funny. It's funny how YouTube caught it and everything like that. So, what's the top Scrum Master interview question? So here's the question, right? Here's the question. Who runs Daily Scrum? Oh, that's an easy one, Greg. It's, I don't know. Is it Scrum Master or is it team, right? The answer is the team. They own it. So they should run it. You might facilitate it as a Scrum Master, facilitates operations, but they run it. Who should be talking? Now, this is a question I didn't put well, how does it work, right? How do you get it where the team runs and owns the daily Scrum? Does the Scrum Master talk most of the time? Do you talk most of the time as Scrum Master in daily Scrum? That's a basic question. So variations of that occur. So now, how do you make it happen? Here's part B. How do you make it where the team runs the daily Scrum? How do you get there, right? So having an answer to that question is important. C, what have you done to get the team in that position? Okay. So B and C are kind of in the same realm. Couple ideas. One, Scrum Master calls everyone's name out. And I'd be like, that's kind of weak. Rotate Scrum Masters for daily Scrum. My opinion, kind of weak. The team just runs it themselves. Better, how do you design it? How do you facilitate that discussion? My recommendation, to be honest with you, unless you're standing in a room where you're all there in person, that's the one case where you just go around the room. One person talks and goes around the room if you're in person. In this virtual world, don't have that in person take anymore. In fact, if you are going to do hybrid where some are in the office, some are remote, my recommendation is to do everyone remote, treat it as a remote thing for daily Scrum so that everyone has an equal saying and equal footing in the room. Because if you haven't, I've been there where I've had people in a room talk, and you had people online, like over in India or another foreign country or offshore, onshore, because Scrum's everywhere in the world. It's kind of odd. If the people who aren't there in person kind of feel left out. So you don't want that, right? So again, these are all little nuances of that question, and it's just for Daily Scrum. And this is not in the book. This is not on the form. This is a job interview question because they want to know how you're going to organize. This is one of the key. Your name as Scrum Master and Daily Scrum are synonymous. So why not ask that question, right? So you're asking that question. How do you do it? My recommendation is just to have a list of names. Now, in the virtual world, there's a couple ways to do it. You make a list, you put it on your meeting invite, and it goes boom, 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 boom. And then I usually have the team goes, then the product owner, and then the Scrum Master at the end. Scrum Master should be last. Sometimes I do it if you have a tech lead. I make sure the members of the team go first, then the tech lead, then the product owner, and then the Scrum Master. I put it specifically in that order. In a simple system like Jira, version 1, Rally, whatever's Azure, there is a way when you do your daily Scrum board on your computer, typically it's in alphabetical order. So in that case, just default for whatever's on the screen, who's got work in alphabetical order. I was in a meeting the other day and someone had no work. And I was just like, how do they have no work? What are they doing? Right. It was kind of interesting. Everything was in a waiting condition or done. So what are you doing? What are you doing while you're waiting? Back in my mind. And this is where Scrum Master comes back and follows up on the meetings. But however, so there's some ways to do that. So you can set up a list and say everyone knows who's next. Why do I say that? Because then they know they go next, or whoever's speaking says, okay, let's say I'm Greg and the next person's John or Jill or something. Let's say the next person's Jill. Let's say Jill goes. Jill says what they want to bring up about the meeting, what they have interactions with, what they need help with, right? Then Jill says, okay, Greg, you're next. And then I go. In this case, I'm not the Scrum Master. So the idea is that people control the flow and they call it the next person. You might even want to hand over reins if you're doing virtual to sharing the screen or taking over the screen to move things along to the next person. You can always get to that level too, where it says, okay, I'm just going to hand the reins over to the next person. What is nice about that is that everyone knows who's next. It's a rapid question. You're like, Greg, are you here? And you just take a second, and if Greg's not here, then they go to the next person. Greg comes in late, violation of team norms, then Greg talks at the end of the round robin. So that is one way. So this is the way the team owns it, controls it. And nowhere in there do I ever say the Scrum Master says everyone's name. Scrum Master, you want to be a fly on the wall that's not buzzing around, pestering everybody as you're flying around the wall, right? You just want to sit on the wall, be nice, quiet, hidden away so no one kills you, right? So that's the idea. That's how that should be done. The last part of that question, here's the last kicker. Here's the trick question. On a new team, how long should it take for the Scrum Master to get out of Daily Scrum? Think about that question, because a lot of times Scrum Masters get hired to bring up new teams, right? Because if the team already existed, they probably already have a Scrum Master, unless Scrum Masters quit. And then you're like, well, why did the Scrum Master quit? What's so bad about this team or this company? However, sometimes they move on, do other things. But in a case, most of the times you have a new team, they got to hire a Scrum Master to get everyone congealed. So how long should a Scrum Master take before they get themselves out of Daily Scrum? Because when you first started off, you're setting up this whole facilitate event. You may, on the first couple scrums, call everyone's name out, get it set up, give examples, ask some questions during Daily Scrum, get the thought process so people understand how Daily Scrum. You're kind of teaching and doing at the same time. The question is, how long should it take? My response is probably about one sprint. By the second sprint, you should be out of it. Think about it. One sprint, if you're doing a 2-week sprint, is 10 times. So you do it 10 times, you should be able to start. Okay, now we're going to start doing around the table. So I want to do it. I want to set it up. By the second sprint, should be out of it. If a Scrum Master is still calling everyone's name out after 30 days, it's a fail, right? So there's your question. So there's the bonus question. How long should it take for a Scrum Master to work themselves out of daily Scrum? Not like not do it so they can do other things. That's a misnomer, right? That's not the idea. The idea is when you work yourself out of it, so the team is running it, and you're doing more of a facilitating, observing, making sure the team's interacting, and all the other things that we do as Scrum Masters. So there's your top question. Who runs the daily Scrum? Right? Kind of who owns the daily Scrum? Who runs it? And it's a good question. So if you practice that, think about it in your own office. If you are a Scrum Master, listen to what I just said. Are you running the daily Scrum, or is the team running the daily Scrum? Are they interacting? Your job is to get them to interact as much as possible in every facet of the day. The more you could do that, the better product you're going to build. So that's our thing today. Top Scrum Master interview question with a couple A, B, C, D questions that come with it, that variation. So I wanted to provide that to you in case you're looking for, because I know come the new year, they're always hiring. So this is time when you start to get these questions. Maybe I'll do another question later on. So with that, I say good luck. Happy Scrumming. Hope you have a great day and see you tomorrow. Bye. See ya.